Hello, everybody. Welcome back to There's a Sign with Shane O'Connor. Yep, you thought you got rid of me for good, but nope, it's me. I'm back. It's Shane O'Connor. Research for this podcast takes a while, and I'm tired, and I had to sort Magic the Gathering cards and go to Maine and stuff, but I'm going to try to get these back out semi-regularly again. I also wasted a lot of time trying to figure out how to edit video. That was dumb. Hire an intern. I got Malia Obama as my intern. Okay, today we're going to do an actual sign. It's time to learn. Today's sign is Thomas Ustick Walter. There's a sign that says, nationally prominent Philadelphia architect who designed the U.S. Capitol Dome and its wings and Girard College. He was consulting architect for Philadelphia City Hall, a founder of the American Institute of Architects. He served as its president. Walter lived near here, 1837 to 1841. It's on 12th and Arch. That's where he used to live. Thomas Ustick Walter. Real. There's a sign heads will know that I name dropped this dude in episode 1. A Myomincing prison, because he designed a Myomincing prison. You know, I haven't spoken all day. Is it showing? So if you want to figure out what Thomas Ustick Walter looked like, imagine the most 1800s looking ass dude you've ever seen. He's got the curly hair. It's black and white. He's never seen a color in his life. He's born in 1804. And like many Philadelphia 76ers players, he's the son of a bricklayer. He studied at the Franklin Institute. You know that was the thing you could do? You could study at the Franklin Institute. It wasn't just a museum. It wasn't just the big heart. No, it was a school where you could learn facts. He studied under William Strickland, who is a man who was also, of the time. He had sideburns down to his nipples. They helped establish the Greek revival movement in the U.S., which is, back then it was Greek revival in architecture. Nowadays it's Greek revival in yogurt, although people have been trying to push that Siggy's Icelandic yogurt on me, and I don't know. I'm not ready to try it yet. All right. I don't understand what the advantages will be. Not that I know what's in Greek yogurt, but Icelandic yogurt? What's there? Can you guys hear all this traffic? I'm sitting right next to the window, and the guy's been trying to parallel park for about 20 minutes now. William Strickland was known for doing a lot of railroad construction. Back then, railroads weren't around. You gotta drive those stakes. You gotta lay down the ties. You gotta put the rails down. He also built the first ocean breakwater in the Western Hemisphere. I tried to Google it. I think an ocean breakwater is like rocks that makes a bay or something. I don't know why it was such a big deal to build. It's like, let's go pile these rocks over here, but make it Greek. So Thomas, should I say Thomas or Walter? Thomas Walter's mentor was Benjamin Latrobe, who is a real pimp. He built a whole bunch of cool stuff. He built the Merchants Exchange, which is that round building over by the Ritz 5, where it's all cobblestones out front, and you can see people taking their wedding photos there pretty much every freaking day. One time I was there, and there was 3 couples all taking pictures at the same time, and like waiting to exchange parts of the building, because some people you don't want to sit on the stairs, and some people want to look into each other's eyes in front of that one door, and then other people want to stand in the middle. And it's just, I don't understand why the wedding parties have to be around for the whole time at the pictures, because then you just get all these like incredibly dressed up people. It's 11 a.m. It's Saturday, and you're like, don't you want to be drinking or something? You should be somewhere where you can be drinking. That's the best part about being in a wedding. But no, they got to wait for these pictures. I think you should have like wedding party photos real quick, and then the bride and groom can go screw off and have 20 hours of picture taking in front of the Merchants Exchange building. He also built National Mechanics, which used to be a hall for mechanics, and now it's a bar that also serves brunch. I've never been in there. I want to. I think it'll be nice, but I'm never really over that way, and when I am, I'll just go to the movies. But anywho, Thomas Walter and Benjamin Latrobe, they built one of my all-time favorite buildings in Philadelphia, the second bank of the United States. It is the most Greek-looking building I've ever seen. It is actually based on the Parthenon, which when in high school I used to get the Parthenon and the Pantheon mixed up. The Pantheon is a lowercase improper noun, and Parthenon's a proper noun. Is improper noun the right word? Normal noun? That word's improper. Anywho, it's got really giant columns, and there's a portrait gallery in there nowadays that I haven't got to see, and it was getting refurbished, the outside of it, for a long time, so you couldn't do it. But during the pandemic, I'd walk all around that thing all the time because it was right next to my apartment, and yeah, it's nice. You can just climb on all this old marble. Feels neat. Yeah, gosh, great building. Okay, so now Thomas Ustick, we all stick, Walter. It's 1830. He's on his own. He's his own man. He's 26. He's ready to go. He starts work on the aforementioned Myomincing prison, or the Acme is. Go back and listen to episode 1. It'll take you 10 minutes on 1.5 speed. He also built Founders Hall, which looks very Greek also. It's weird that we all know what Greek stuff looks like. Is it from watching Hercules? Or is it just like slowly seeping into our brains from all the chobani we're eating? He built Founders Hall at Girard College, which originally was named the Girard College for Orphans. So it's kind of like X-Men. What would the X-Men powers be in Philadelphia, I wonder? Being able to walk through the back door of a SEPTA bus without having to yell at the driver, back door. That'd be a good superpower. Oh, man. Maybe like telepathy, but only for fans of opposing teams, and you can just destroy them mentally. Just imagine like a dock worker looking ass dude with like a Yingling in each hand, just staring daggers at some Cowboys fan in the tailgate parking lot until that guy starts to get on his knees and cries. That would be cool. I guess he would be the bad X-Men, then he would be with Magneto. What would the Magneto power be in Philadelphia? We'll circle back to this on the Patreon for sure. He also renovated the interior of Christ Church, which is it's right by the Book Trader on Market and 2nd. Shout out to Seamus Muller, has a lovely stop at the Christ Church on his walking tour. If you need a walking tour in Philadelphia, Seamus is your guy. He meets you across from the Starbucks on Arch, takes you all around a little mile square. You learn all sorts of stuff. There's a really cool baptismal font inside the Christ Church. You get to watch people play with their dogs in the park while he talks. In case you zone out, you can look at the dogs. But I didn't zone out, Seamus. Either time I went, I didn't zone out, I swear. He also, shout out to me, he designed the Chester County Courthouse in Westchester. This is a building I've seen once. I've been to Westchester 3 times, even though I live 20 minutes from it for 23 years. Westchester sucks, but he built this courthouse. It's still there. You can park near it, kind of. Parking there is a pain in the butt, I tell you. It's like every road's a one-way street, and everybody drives 40 miles an hour. I don't understand how Westchester is still standing, nor why it continues to attract people to it. Like, God, what a confusing place. He also he designed a breakwater too. Everybody's breaking water. He broke water in La Guerra, Venezuela. But how? How did he get down there? It's 1843. If I'm in 1843, I don't even know Venezuela exists. South America might as well not exist. Like, do they even have globes then to spin? Or is it just like a map that the oldest man in your town has in his house? And you look over and he's like, this is South America. And you'd be like, I want to break water in a Caracas. And he's like, how about La Guaira? It must have taken forever. Did they have boats back then? 1843. This is the Merrimack and the other one are fighting in the Civil War. They still got sailboats. You got to get on a sailboat. The steam locomotive kind of exists. It has to have existed because the Underground Railroad is based on a railroad, right? Gosh, I don't know anything about that period of time, transportation-wise. But this guy got on a boat with sails to design a breakwater in Venezuela. He must have been the coolest dude, because who else is just leaving the country? Who's leaving Pennsylvania to go to Venezuela? I was going to say that guy who escaped from the prison, but I think he was Brazilian. Okay, now it's time for the biggest chapter of Thomas Ustick Walter's career. He becomes the architect of the capital with an O. Capitol. There's 400 acres of swamp that the architect of the Capitol's in charge of, and it took a while for him to do much just because it was still very much a fledgling kind of area. 1812, the White House gets burnt down. They rebuild it. The population of the country's expanding, so now we need more space in our legislative buildings because we need more representatives. So 1850, he's the architect of the Capitol. There's like only one every like 35 years or something. I think there's been 12 architects of the Capitol, and there's also been 12 people who have walked on the moon. So which one would you rather do? Sound off in the comments. 1850, we need a bigger boat, aka a Capitol building. So Thomas Walter is put in charge of the expansions of the Capitol building. When it starts, the Capitol building is just a white building with columns because Greek. And then they're like, hey, how about if we put 2 wings, one on either side? Would that be good? And he's like, sure. And then he's like, how about we build a big ass dome? All right. You guys know the Capitol dome. It's at the intro of the title sequence to House of Cards. It's in the title sequence to the West Wing. It is the first thing you see when you get outside of Union Station in Washington, D.C. It's a big dome. It's very famous. I learned recently that Osama bin Laden targeted the Capitol building with the 4th plane on 9/11, the one that ended up in Schwenksville in the field because the Flight 93, is that the Flight 93? Because of the heroes. Shout out to our heroes who put that plane down. That one was supposed to go to the Capitol building. I would have prioritized the Capitol building over the Pentagon. I think if they had landed one in the Capitol building, we would be still at war. Anywho, so this dome, it's big. It's got 36 Corinthian columns. I cannot remember the difference between Corinthian and Ionic and Doric columns. Shout out Mr. Hetherington, but I know the words. I don't remember. One of them has scrolls at the top. So he was the architect of the Capitol for 5 presidents, Fillmore to Johnson. Can we name them all? Fillmore, Tyler, Buchanan, Lincoln, Grant, Johnson. That doesn't feel right. Okay, so in 1851, a year into his term as the architect of the Capitol, he begins construction on the expansions. House of Representatives gets completed 6 years later in 1857. The Senate building gets completed in 1859. And the dome gets completed in 1863, which is, 12 years it took to get dome for this guy. They put the Statue of Freedom on top. Not the Statue of Liberty, freedom. Freedom, freedom. That was pretty good. Man, my neighborhood is mostly mopeds when I tell you about it. There's a neat tidbit. This whole podcast is neat tidbits, isn't it? This guy, August Schoenborn, was a German man who came to America, and he was the chief assistant to Thomas Ustick Walter. And he was the one who's attributed with a lot of the stuff in the dome. Like there's the way the columns are laid out and the cantilevers are done. It makes the dome seem bigger than it is. Like it seems wider than like the diameter of the dome itself because of math and science and optical illusions and stuff. So that's fun. But no one knows Augustus' name. And then in 1865, after 15 years of being architect of the Capitol, Thomas Walter has a minor contract dispute, leaves the job, goes back to Philadelphia. A minor contract dispute. I wonder how much money they were talking about, or maybe it's like whether or not to include a horse in the deal. If I have a fancy job in Washington, I want at least 2 horses, I think 1 to 2 horses would be good. 3 horses. Do you have a horse garage? I guess horses just go outside. They're animals. We're animals when you think about it. No one leaves us outside. All right. And then this section I wrote in my notes is called Retired and Dead. So he gets back to Philadelphia in 1865, and he's got 22 years to live, and he knew exactly how long he had to live. And City Hall starts getting built. Love City Hall. Probably it's my number 1 favorite building in the whole city of Philadelphia. Very unpopular opinion there. A lot of people. I'm just fooling, guys. If you made it this far, know that I'm just fooling. So City Hall's getting built. It's the largest occupied masonry building in the entire world. It's heavy as hell. It's made of rock. Still has in-window air conditioners, and you can't get rid of it. It's too big. It's too big and it's too nice. If they get rid of it, I'll burn the rest of the city down myself. But he's assisted as like consulting on the people building City Hall until he dies in 1887 at the ripe old age of 83. Wow, 83 was like 200 back then. This guy's old. He's old. He's dead now, but he was old. And he's buried in Laurel Hill Cemetery, which is in Laurel Hill. There's a bunch of people in a bunch of the cool cemeteries. We should have a tour. If you want to come on the cemetery tour with me, you just give me $100 and I'll do it. I'll do it right now. Get your hat, get your gloves, put some good shoes on, put some comfy walking shoes on. Meet me outside your place in 10 minutes. And we'll go walk through the cemeteries, all right? One time a lady asked me on a second date, she's like, you want to go play, what was it? You want to go play board games in a cemetery? I was like, with just us? She's like, just us. And I was like, this seems like a trap. That seems like I'm going to get trapped into a seance or some kind of body switch. Nothing good's happening in the cemeteries. It is quiet, I guess, but then I got yelled at for stepping on a grave once because there's somebody, in there or whatever. And so then I've never known where to stand at graveyards since then. Cemeteries. Is there a difference? Maybe a graveyard only has graves and a cemetery has mausoleums. That's a fun word. Mausoleum. Okay. If you made it this far, great job. Thanks for listening. It's a great time to generate content, I tell you. And I'm a little down in the dumps, but I will continue to try to make this podcast for you, my loyal following, my 12 apostles. I'll keep you flush with content till I can no more. I also had an idea for a podcast. Ooh, I shouldn't say it out loud. What if it becomes super popular? Also very excited to promote a friend of the pod, Cassandra Curiesis. Apologies if I've had a hard time pronouncing your last name for years now. But Cassandra's got a great podcast called Flop Soup that I will tell you about right now. Here's this one. Ooh, my first ad read. Wow, this is exciting. Mark the timestamp right now. That's exciting. Oh, wow. Okay. Flop Soup. Here we go. Are you tired of serious news podcasts? You should check out Flop Soup. Flop Soup is a podcast about pop culture and pop culture, hosted by Philadelphia comic Cassandra Curiesis and Los Angeles writer Justin Crosby. Every week on Flop Soup, the hosts talk about what's flopping in culture, entertainment, politics, and even their own lives. Plus, every episode features a local flop from each host city. So definitely tune in if you want to hear the silliest news coming out of Philly and LA every week. Cassandra and Justin lay it all out and decide once and for all what's a flop and what's not. It's kind of like if the Daily was weekly and also fun. New episodes come out every Friday, wherever you get your podcasts. Flop Soup, baby. Check it out. I think it sounds fun. I've listened to a couple episodes. Good old time. I don't listen to the Daily. I'm not crazy. But, yeah, check out Flop Soup. Shout out Cassandra. Shout out Bing Crosby, her co-partner. Yeah. Well, anyway, kind of back. Here we are. Made the podcast. Hopefully it'll come out tomorrow, God willing. But, yeah. Hope you guys have a lovely weekend. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.